Chapter 1085. Since she couldn't get through to Huachenhuan, Su Yiyan couldn't just sit there and wait for her death. Su Yiyan called the police as fast as she could and explained the situation at the scene in a stuttering manner. After that, she called her elder brother. Listening to the familiar voice on the other end of the phone and the gentle comfort of trying to stay calm, Su Yiyan's nose twitched and she almost cried. At this moment, there was another collision behind her that was even more violent than the previous one. Su Yiyan's phone slipped out of her hand and fell into the gap at the edge of the car. Su Yuxuan, who was already nervous on the other end of the phone, heard the sound and her face turned pale. She anxiously shouted Su Yiyan's name into the phone, but Su Yiyan couldn't hear her. Perhaps the car was tired of the chase, but this time, the car behind them crashed very hard and the car almost lost its balance. Su Yiyan finally sat down with the child in her arms. Her head was buzzing. After calming down, her first reaction was to ask the system for help. System, other than those medicinal seeds and all kinds of medical skills, do you have any life-saving tools? Hurry up and exchange for one for me. The system, which had been constantly issuing warnings, paused for a few seconds when it heard Su Yiyan's request before replying heartlessly. No. What's the use of having you? The system, which was despised, expressed its grievance and tried to clear its name. The system isn't the kind of combat system that has a high combat value. The system even has classifications? Su Yiyan was actually grasping at straws. She had been with the system for 2 or 3 years, so how could she not know what was in the system? She only asked this because she wanted to be lucky. She thought that if the system really hid some secret life-saving weapon. Xiaoyang, how's the situation? Can you escape? Gu Xiaoyang didn't turn back. Instead, he stared at the cars that were getting closer and closer and the several trucks that looked similar to the ones behind them at the intersection not far away. He gritted his teeth and said, "Young madam, there are too many of them. We can only try our best to delay them. But as time goes on, I'm afraid." Su Yiyan's heart skipped a beat. He could roughly feel the severity of the situation. Compared to a few minutes ago, a few more cars joined the large group chasing after them. It was obvious that these people came prepared. It was only a matter of time before they were caught. Even before they were caught, it was very likely that they would be blocked by an ambush vehicle that would appear out of nowhere and become the turtle in a jar. As it turned out, their worries were not unfounded. After turning a corner and knocking away a small truck that was trying to stop them, their car finally drove off the main road. However, at the other 2 ends of this 3-way road, there was actually a group of cars guarding. It was obvious that they wanted to block them here. There was an ambush in front and pursuers behind. The slightest carelessness could cost them their lives. Gu Xiaoyang's forehead was dripping with cold sweat. Su Yiyan's heart was pounding. At this critical moment, the system, which had been silent for a long time, suddenly spoke up. "Drive to the right and don't look back." Right. Su Yiyan subconsciously looked at the cars on the right. Compared to the cars on the left, the cars on the right did look weaker and easier to break through. Although she didn't understand the system's intentions, all she could do now was to trust it. "Xiaoyang, drive to the right. Don't worry about anything else. If they dare to block us, run them over." Chapter 1086. Gu Xiaoyang was startled, but he did not question Su Yiyan's words. He turned the steering wheel, stepped on the gas pedal, and rushed in the direction that Su Yiyan had pointed out. The cars on the right side of the intersection also moved. They surrounded them and took the initiative to drive in their direction. Su Yiyan and Gu Xiaoyang's faces changed slightly, but they knew that they had no way out. They could only watch as the cars got closer and closer. When the cars were less than a meter away from them, Su Yiyan's heart was in his throat. However, what happened next was beyond everyone's expectations. The cars did not block Su Yiyan and the others' way. Instead, they brushed past them at the last moment and rushed toward the cars that had been chasing after Su Yiyan and the others. Gu Xiaoyang and Su Yiyan, who had thought that they were doomed, were dumbfounded by what they saw. Is this an ally? Maybe. Rather than an ally, Su Yiyan was more willing to believe that the scene in front of him was a dog-eat-dog situation caused by disagreements among the group of gangsters. Whether it was an ally or an internal conflict, it was not something that Su Yiyan should care about. The most important thing now was to leave this troublesome place and go to a safe place. Gu Xiaoyang obviously knew this. He looked back at the messy cars behind him, stepped on the gas pedal, and rushed forward as fast as he could. After driving for about a kilometer and confirming that there were no cars following behind them, the two were relieved. But at this moment, the system's warning sounded again. Su Yiyan was slightly startled. He looked up subconsciously and his pupils shrank. "Be careful." Gu Xiaoyang was startled by Su Yiyan's shout. Then, he saw a black truck suddenly rushing out from the corner. Gu Xiaoyang's face changed slightly, and he subconsciously steered the steering wheel to the side. Unfortunately, the road was only so big. No matter how fast one's reaction was, the space was limited. The truck still hit the driver's seat where Gu Xiaoyang was, and the car lost its balance in an instant. Su Yiyan didn't have time to think. She held the crying child in her arms. Fortunately, after the car was hit and spun around, it hit a railing on the side of the road and stopped. It didn't overturn. However, there was a big hole in the glass of the front of the car and the driver's seat. One could imagine how hard the collision was. Su Yiyan took a while to recover from the child's cries before she raised her head. She shook her dizzy head and checked the child in her arms with a pale face. After making sure that there were no external injuries on the child's body except for crying out of fear, she was relieved and turned to check on Gu Xiaoyang's condition. Because it was a head-on collision and the car lost its balance, Gu Xiaoyang subconsciously drove the car to the side where there was no one. Although the adult and the child in the back seat were affected, their injuries were far less serious than Gu Xiaoyang's in the front seat. Su Yiyan just went over and saw Gu Xiaoyang's miserable state with his eyes closed and his forehead bleeding. Her heart immediately thumped. "Xiaoyang? Xiaoyang, wake up. Wake up." Su Yiyan freed one hand to check Gu Xiaoyang's breath and touched his chest. After making sure that his heart was still beating, she looked a little better. But she also knew very well that Gu Xiaoyang was seriously injured. Chapter 1087. Putting aside the internal injuries caused by the collision, the external injuries that were visible to the naked eye could cause him to bleed too much and go into shock or even die if they were not treated as soon as possible. Furthermore, the place they were in now was not safe. The car had begun to smoke after the collision. No one could tell when it would explode, so they had to leave as soon as possible. Su Yiyan's anxious shout did not wake Gu Xiaoyang up from his coma. Instead, it alerted the dangerous people outside who had been eyeing her covetously. A group of black-clothed men with weapons surrounded the car, not allowing any possibility for the people in the car to escape. The deformed car door was pried open with a click. A dazzling light shone in, causing Su Yiyan to squint subconsciously. Then she saw a man walk out from behind the group of men in black. He called her gently and politely, "Miss Su." "You are." Su Yiyan felt that this man was a little familiar, but she could not remember where she had seen him before. "It doesn't matter who I am. What's important is that our boss wants to see Miss Su. He hopes that Miss Su will do him the honor." The man's tone was gentle when he said the first half of his words. Then he changed the topic and his tone became a little colder. "Of course, if Miss Su is unwilling to go with us, we don't mind taking some tough measures given the special circumstances." This was clearly a blatant threat. Su Yiyan pursed her lips. She was a little disgusted by the man's wording and felt that this man's tone was a little familiar. Su Yiyan pondered for a moment. Then an idea flashed through her mind. She quickly remembered who this man's tone was similar to and finally remembered where she had seen this man. When Dou Tianyi personally came to the door that day, this man was also there. Su Yiyan's eyes were slightly cold. She said coldly, "Your boss? Dou Tianyi?" The man, Li Yu, didn't say yes or no. He just raised his hand and made an inviting gesture. "You'll know when you see our boss." Su Yiyan looked at him, and then looked at the men in black standing outside. "I can let you go, but I have a condition." Li Yu was stunned for a moment, and even the decent but hypocritical smile on her face faded a little. "Miss Su doesn't seem to understand the situation she's in. Do you think you have the right to negotiate with us?" When Su Yiyan heard what he said, she calmed down instead. She chuckled and said, "It's precisely because I know my own situation that I said those words. Dou Tianyi asked you to invite me because you want to bring me back alive, right? Tell me, if you bring a dead person back, will you also become a dead person and be buried with me? It's not easy for a person to live, but it's much easier to die." Li Yu's face turned white. She wanted to refute, but she was choked and couldn't say a word for a long time. The two of them confronted each other for a few seconds. In the end, Li Yu was the first to admit defeat. Miss Su, what conditions do you have? If you want to ask for help or send the child away, I advise you to give up. When Su Yiyan heard him mention the child, her heart trembled. The last bit of luck she had disappeared without a trace. This group of people had chosen to make their move today. Other than knowing their itinerary and making it easier for them to leave her behind, she was afraid that the child was also one of their targets. If she wanted to go around this group of people and send the child to a safe place, it wouldn't be that easy. Chapter 1088. Thinking of this, Su Yiyan's eyes fell on Gu Xiaoyang, who was unconscious in the driver's seat. Take him to the hospital. What? I want you to take him to the hospital. Su Yiyan stared into Li Yu's eyes and said firmly, get someone to take him to the hospital. As long as he's safe, I'll go with you. Well. Li Yu hesitated. However, Su Yiyan did not want to drag things out with them anymore. We don't have much time left. Sir, you should make a decision as soon as possible, whether you agree to my small request or let us all die together. She didn't know when the pursuers would catch up with them, and Gu Xiaoyang's injury couldn't be delayed. The only thing she could do now was to bet that Dou Tianyi still needed her. Li Yu's expression suddenly changed. She gritted her teeth and said, okay, I promise you. Young master. Yu Zian looked at the expressionless man not far away. His face was pale, and he was anxious and at a loss. How is Xiaoyang? The doctor said that he avoided the vital organs and his life is not in danger. It's just that he has a severe concussion and lost a lot of blood. He may need to rest for a while to recover. Got it. As soon as Hua Chenhuan finished speaking, there was a rush of footsteps behind them. Zhuo Yanbai trotted over with a grave expression, holding a document in his hand. Behind him was an equally anxious man. Uncle? Hua Chenhuan was surprised to see him. Why are you here? The matter over there has been settled, but a few escaped. I was worried that they would come to trouble you and Yan Yan, so I hurried back. I didn't expect to meet them on the road. As Zhang Qianyang spoke, he turned to look at Zhuo Yanbai and motioned for him to tell Hua Chenhuan what had happened. Young master, from the surveillance cameras near young madam's accident and some witnesses nearby, we learned that you and young madam's car were targeted not long after entering the main road. This group of people followed young madam's car not long after you left. During this period, they did a series of actions such as crashing into the car and forcing it to stop. They even opened fire. Hearing this, the expressions of everyone present changed. Fortunately, the car young madam was in was bulletproof, so she wasn't injured. However, this group of people seemed to have been prepared. They had arranged for many cars to ambush at the various streets. Witnesses said that around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Xiaoyang encountered another group of cars while driving to avoid the cars that were chasing them. The two groups of cars clashed, and young madam's car was able to escape. It's only from this point onwards that there are fewer people around, and there aren't any surveillance cameras. Zhuo Yanbai looked at Hua Chenhuan's increasingly ugly expression, paused, and continued. The nurse in charge of the reception said that the person who called them for help was a man. From their description, it shouldn't have been Xiaoyang who called the police himself. As soon as Zhuo Yanbai said this, everyone present couldn't help but look at each other. Since Gu Xiaoyang didn't call the police himself, and it was a man's voice, then this man was most likely one of the people who kidnapped Su Yiyan and the child. When they rushed over, Xiaoyang was placed in a relatively safe place by the side of the road. The wounds on his body had also been treated briefly to stop the bleeding. Otherwise, with Xiaoyang's injuries at that time, I'm afraid he wouldn't have been able to hold on until the ambulance arrived. Chapter 1089. Zhang Qianyang frowned and asked, did Yan Yan treat his wounds? I think so. Zhuo Yanbai didn't think that the people who took Su Yiyan away would be so kind as to treat Gu Xiaoyang's wounds after the car accident. The only possibility was that Su Yiyan had used some unknown method to get those people to help stop Gu Xiaoyang's bleeding before she left, saving his life. Yu Zian's eyes lit up and he said excitedly, does this mean that for some unknown reason, those people didn't dare to do anything to young madam? They were even threatened by young madam and had no choice but to save Xiaoyang. So young madam and young master are still safe for now? Zhuo Yanbai frowned, but he wasn't as optimistic as Yu Zian. Not necessarily. Maybe they did it before young madam was taken away, and they didn't notice. It's such a broken car and such a big person. The people who took Yan Yan and the child away aren't blind. How could they not see it? If it were you, would you let the kidnapper live for no reason and then identify yourself? Yan Yan must have done something to save his life. Yan Yan and the child must be fine now. A slightly abrupt voice suddenly came from behind them. Although the tone of the voice was stern, it couldn't hide the worry and anxiety in it. They didn't know if the words were meant for them or for themselves. Hua Chenhuan looked at the person and called out in a low voice, "Brother!" Hua Chenhuan didn't dare to tell the two elders about Su Yiyan, because she was afraid that they would be agitated. She only told Su Yuxuan. Su Yuxuan snorted coldly and didn't look at him kindly. Two big people disappeared just like that. Is this how you protect them? Hua Chenhuan didn't speak with a sullen face. Zhang Qianyang couldn't bear to see his nephew being criticized at this time. He sighed and acted as a peacemaker. We'll talk about this later. The most important thing now is to find them as soon as possible. I've already sent people to catch the two groups of people who had a conflict with Yan Yan before Yan Yan disappeared. These two groups of people chased after Yan Yan and the child before they disappeared. Even if they didn't take Yan Yan away, they still have something to do with this. Coincidentally, as soon as Zhang Qianyang finished speaking, the people he sent out called him. Zhang Qianyang picked up the phone and his eyes lit up. He looked up at the anxious people present and said excitedly, "They're caught. They're caught." Hua Chenhuan and the others were like ants on a hot pan. They were so anxious that they wanted to find her as soon as possible. The person they were worried about was being brought to a small, remote villa by Li Yu. This small villa looked a bit old and shabby from the outside. Vines entangled with moss clung to a large area of the outer wall. There were also a lot of weeds growing outside the courtyard. From afar, one would think that this was a run-down house that no one lived in and didn't regularly repair. But after entering the house, one would find that most of the things in the house were in good condition. There was basically no dust or stains to be seen. It wasn't clear if someone had lived here before and cleaned it regularly, or if it was specially cleaned because someone was coming. Li Yu put Su Yiyan and her child in the living room and asked someone to watch over them. Then, she went to the backyard. Not long after, Su Yiyan heard the familiar sound of a wheelchair being pushed. Su Yiyan frowned slightly. She shifted her gaze from the sleeping child in her arms to the source of the sound. But when she saw Dou Tianyi and the familiar figure behind him, her eyes widened in surprise. Chapter 1090. Dou Tianyi had changed a lot since the last time they met. His face, which was already pale, was now devoid of color. He didn't look like a human, but more like a fake white sculpture in an exhibition hall. His cheeks, which were already thin to begin with, were now sunken in. He looked like a skeleton with human skin stuck on it. It was inexplicably horrifying. However, what surprised Su Yiyan the most was not this, but the person behind Dou Tianyi. This was the first time Su Yiyan saw Wen Jingping after more than a year. Before this, she had only seen this person's figure in the mouths of others or in those strange peach news. Compared to the last time they met, Wen Jingping was much more haggard, and her spirit seemed to be a little absent-minded. When she wheeled Dou Tianyi over from afar, her eyes were blank, and she looked like a soulless puppet. However, when she saw Su Yiyan, she was stunned. Her originally lifeless eyes suddenly changed, and her face twisted for a moment. Su Yiyan saw the change in her expression. Her eyes were slightly cold, and her heart trembled. When did these two fellows get together again? Before this, the person who was sent to keep an eye on Wen Jingping had just returned with news that Ding Jueisi had gone to look for Wen Jingping and tried to force himself on her. What's done can't be undone, and the two of them had fallen out on the spot. How long had it been? Wen Jingping actually got together with Dou Tianyi again. Moreover, wasn't Dou Tianyi hospitalized because of his illness? How come now? Could it be that after doing so much, she still couldn't stop the two of them from going down the same path? Nothing had changed. No matter how many things happened in between, the world's female lead would eventually be together with the world's male lead, and those unimportant cannon fodder and supporting roles would eventually become stepping stones on their path to success. They would never be able to escape the fate of the past. When she thought of this, Su Yiyan felt the blood in her body freeze. It was so cold that she wanted to shiver on the spot. System, what's going on? How did the two of them get together again? Wasn't Dou Tianyi's condition deteriorating to the point that he was on the verge of death? How did he get out of the hospital? Also, I haven't settled the score with you just now. I was just giving you directions, but you still pointed me to the male and female leads. If it weren't for the fact that you've really helped me a lot in the past 2 years, I would have suspected that you're a spy arranged by the world's consciousness. After being scolded by Su Yiyan, the system was silent for a long time before it replied in a slightly aggrieved manner. The system is not a spy. The reason why it pointed the way here is because at that time, if you really had to choose between the two teams, choose the world's male protagonist's side, the host and the baby might still have a chance to survive. Su Yiyan's heart trembled. He thought of the group of people who were constantly shooting at them from behind. He had to admit that the system's words were not without reason. Based on their situation at that time, if they had bumped into Do Tianyi's men, they still had a chance to survive. If they had really been surrounded by the group behind them, she and her child would have been dead by now. As for why the world's male lead was able to get out of the hospital when he was seriously ill? From the results of the scan, the world's male lead's body does have traces of the system's item being used. Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted to the meaning of the system's words. Her expression changed. You mean, the reason why his condition improved was because when Jingping used the system's item on him. When Jingping's body really has a system. Chapter 1091. Based on the data from the scan, that seems to be the case. Su Yiyan's eyes narrowed dangerously. Did it discover you? I don't think so. Su Yiyan raised an eyebrow. I don't think so. The tools that Wen Jingping used on Do Tianyi are low-level tools in all aspects. The traces are more obvious. Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes. So, you're just guessing. You're not sure if there's another system on her. Yes. What about it? Can it sense your presence? Don't worry about that. The system has its own high-end shielding function. As long as the host doesn't activate the permissions, Wen Jingping's system will definitely not discover the existence of the system. When 001 talked about this, he was a little proud of himself, just like a little kid who was asking for praise from his parents. Su Yiyan wasn't as optimistic as 001. She immediately grasped the main point of this topic. In other words, you can't do anything to it, and it can't do anything to you. Theoretically speaking, that's right. However, the system on the female lead should be an advanced system. The female lead's protagonist aura has already been snatched away by the host. The system on the female lead can't be upgraded. Relatively speaking, it's definitely weaker than the current system. Weaker than you? Su Yiyan raised the corners of her eyes. She looked at Wen Jingping with a hint of playfulness. Wen Jingping instinctively felt a chill run down her spine. Since it's weaker than you, then do you have the confidence to swallow it? System. Was it really that cruel? Although it was shocked, the system seriously considered Su Yiyan's suggestion. Theoretically speaking, it's possible, but... You don't have enough points. If you want to swallow a system with similar characteristics as yourself, you'll need a lot of favorability points. Currently, you're about 1/3 away. 1/3. Su Yiyan was shocked. Ever since Hua Chenhuan had completely recovered, the favorability points she earned from her live streams were mostly used to unlock skills and exchange for new medicinal herb seeds. She didn't spend much of it. She had accumulated almost 100 million points by now, but now she was told that she only had 2/3 of the points. She was still short of 1/3? In such a short period of time, how was she going to gather so many favorable impression points for it? Although he was complaining, Su Yiyan still seriously thought about how to solve this problem. You said that the communication signal in this place is blocked. Even if there is a communication device, the signal can't be sent out. What about the network signal? Can you connect to the internet? Generally speaking, since communication signals were blocked, there was a high chance that the network signal would be blocked as well. However, there was a special situation where there was no communication signal and no phone calls could be made, but there was still access to the internet. Su Yiyan wasn't sure if Do Tianyi's people would be so careless as to not take this into consideration. But as long as there was a tiny bit of hope, she wanted to take a gamble. Unexpectedly, the system didn't reply after a long period of silence like before. Instead, it replied almost instantly. Yes. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up slightly. Then can you connect a virtual camera to my live stream account and help me open the live stream room? Su Yiyan's phone had slipped off when she was escaping from the men in black. She didn't know where it had slipped to. Moreover, Dou Tianyi had blocked the signal, so it was impossible for her to bring it in. Chapter 1092. At this point, she could only hope that the system would be a little more helpful. Host, are you going to start a live broadcast? Yes. Looking at the situation now. Host, are you not worried about exposing your identity? Su Yiyan subconsciously glanced at the two people who were about to reach her, and the emotions in her eyes were a little cold. It's not about whether I'm worried about exposing my identity. Even if I don't want to, there are people who want to force me to reveal my identity. Since that's the case, I might as well do it myself. At least I can take the initiative in my own hands. Understood. Connecting to the host's live broadcast room, please wait. When the system tried to connect to Su Yiyan's live broadcast room, when Jingping pushed Dou Tianyi in front of her. Miss Su, long time no see. Dou Tianyi's voice was very soft, but there was an inexplicable coldness in it that made people uncomfortable. Su Yiyan opened her mouth and was about to speak when she heard the system's angelic voice in her mind. Host's live broadcast room has been activated. Please take note. Host's live broadcast room has been activated. Please take note. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed, and the words that were about to come out of her mouth immediately changed. If it's possible, I really don't want to see Mr. Dou. After all, I have to risk my life just to see him. Fortunately, no one died this time, but I can't say for sure the next time. The audience in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room had just entered the room when they heard this, and they were all a little confused. The host is starting a live broadcast? Another surprise attack? Fortunately, I'm quick-witted and waited 24 hours a day. Ha! But, is this the host's home? Why doesn't it look like a kitchen? It's obvious that it's not a kitchen. This should be the living room. The decor looks very high-end. Sure enough, no matter how the background changes, the host's image of a rich second-generation heir is still the same. Are all of you only focused on the decor of the background? Did no one notice that the faces of the people in the live broadcast room are all exposed? As soon as this comment floated by, a short blank space suddenly appeared in the comments that were floating by in the live stream. Exposed? That's right, it was time to show his face. One had to know that Su Yiyan had streamed so many times, but he had never let anyone show their faces in his stream. Even the helpers and friends who had mistakenly entered the live broadcast room had their faces censored. Over time, everyone had gotten used to Su Yiyan's rule of not showing her face. He had thought that he would never be able to see the streamer's face in this lifetime. Who would have thought that the streamer's face would not be covered during today's live broadcast? After a short period of silence, the bullet screen in the live broadcast room began to explode. Is this the host? Streamer. Where is the streamer? Which of these two women is the host? Why do I feel that the two women in the live broadcast room look so familiar? Could it be that the host's account was hacked? Hacked account? It can't be. Is the firewall of onlookers so weak? So, is the host here or not? Let's wait here for a while. I feel like there's something wrong with the atmosphere here. Something is wrong +1. Dou Tianyi and the others had no idea that their every move had long been clearly captured by an invisible camera. There was nowhere to hide. Su Yiyan was not worried that they would find out. Although the system would occasionally screw up, it was still quite reliable at critical moments. Long before he connected her to the live broadcast room, he had already blocked the signal on the internet. The things that were originally used to guard against her had now backfired on him. Who knew how Dou Tianyi would feel if he found out? Chapter 1093. Dou Tianyi could hear the sarcasm in Su Yiyan's words, but he didn't show any guilt or embarrassment on his face. To be precise, the angrier Su Yiyan was, the happier he was. If I could, I wouldn't want to meet Miss Su under such circumstances. It's clear that Miss Su is in a difficult situation. Miss Su also saw my physical condition. In order to survive, I had no choice but to invite Miss Su over in a rude way. Su Yiyan sneered. It turns out that a group of people chased my car for half an hour. During that time, they shot at my car countless times. After that, they violently hit my car, causing it to be scrapped. The driver in the car was seriously injured and unconscious. They ignored my wishes and forcibly brought me here. In Mr. Doe's eyes, all of this can only be considered rude. It's really an eye-opener for me. Not long ago, the audience had been noisily discussing the identities of Su Yiyan and the others, as well as whether the host was in the live broadcast room. When they heard this, they were all shocked. Chasing the car? Shooting? Seriously injured and unconscious? Forcibly bringing her here? Wasn't this kidnapping? Thinking of this, many of the audience gasped at the same time through their screens. At this moment, some of the audience also recognized Su Yiyan and Wen Jingping. Isn't the one on the left the previously popular entertainment company boss, President Su? The one on the right seems to be the mistress? Yes, I recognize her too. The woman on the right just acted in a drama not long ago. It was that lousy drama on Strawberry TV. It was axed before it finished airing and had a rushed ending. Now that you mention it, it seems to be true. It's really her. This person is too spoiled. Not only did she steal her fiancé, but she also seduced that Ding Juxi's married husband not long ago. He divorced and abandoned his wife and child. See XXX for details of the skinning post. F*CK. This person was actually a food host. Don't tell me. Upstairs, stop thinking. Don't confuse this kind of spoiled brat with a streamer, okay? This person used to be a live streamer on Eater. Later, when she entered the entertainment industry, she was too arrogant. She courted death and caused trouble with the platform too much. The platform terminated her contract and directly blocked her live stream. However, you should still be able to find the footage of the previous screen recording. You can go and take a look. With her cooking skills, she's not even worthy of carrying shoes for our streamer. Don't try to scam her. Whether it was the kidnapping or the identities of the two people, they were all hot topics that could cause heated discussions. Therefore, even though they didn't get to watch the live stream that they had been longing for, the audience's discussion about this live stream continued to rise. Soon, it attracted the attention of many people. Hua Chenhuan was busy discussing with Zhang Qianyang how to identify the kidnapper and rescue Su Yiyan and her son. She should not have had time to pay attention to the outside world. However, ever since Su Yiyan's second live stream, he had set up an automatic reminder for Su Yiyan's live stream. Not long after Su Yiyan's live stream started, the familiar reminder sounded in time and attracted her attention. Hua Chenhuan didn't have time to think too much. He hurriedly opened the live stream and saw the person he had been longing for sitting in a slightly old villa hall. Opposite him were two people he couldn't be more familiar with. Chenhuan, what's wrong? Zhang Qianyang, who had been rushing out in a hurry, found that Hua Chenhuan had suddenly stopped and lagged behind. He turned to look at him in confusion. Hua Chenhuan looked away from the live stream with an extremely ugly expression. Yan and the child have been found. Chapter 1094. When Hua Chenhuan found out about the whereabouts of Su Yiyan and her child, she couldn't wait to rush to where they were and bring them back safely. At the same time, Su Yiyan was also trying her best to buy time for Hua Chenhuan and the others to rescue them. When Dou Tianyi heard Su Yiyan's ridicule, the curve of his lips rose instead of falling. He only felt that Su Yiyan was now like a kitten trapped in a cage, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. If I really wanted to hurt Miss Su, I'm afraid that Miss Su wouldn't be sitting here peacefully, enjoying the meticulous care of the people around her. Enjoying? You call this enjoying? Su Yiyan almost picked up the cup on the table and threw it at someone's face. But Su Yiyan's eyes were slightly cold. Dou Tianyi didn't deny what she had just said, which meant that she had guessed correctly. The group of people who had helped them stop the trucks were Dou Tianyi's men, and they were supposed to be in cahoots with them. However, those people wanted to kill her, while Dou Tianyi wanted her alive, so both sides had fallen out. Since we're all here, I don't want to say any more nonsense. Mr. Dou, just say it. Why did you spend so much effort to bring me here? Dou Tianyi raised his eyebrows. I thought that Miss Su should know very well why she's here. Su Yiyan seemed to have heard the biggest joke in the world. You let people bring me here, but you want me to wonder why I was brought here? You're saying it as if I deserve to be brought here because I did something. Don't you think it's funny? As soon as Su Yiyan said this, before Dou Tianyi could say anything, Wen Jingping, who was following behind him, could not help but widen her eyes. She looked at Su Yiyan in shock and fear, clearly not expecting Su Yiyan to dare speak to Dou Tianyi in such a manner. Moreover, what made her the most depressed was that Dou Tianyi did not have much of a reaction after hearing her words. He did not get angry, nor did he retaliate. Instead, he seemed a little excited. Wen Jingping, who had already experienced Dou Tianyi's prowess, had no doubt that if those words had come out of her mouth, she would not even be able to find her corpse. Such an obvious difference in treatment made Wen Jingping feel an indescribable discomfort in her heart. At the same time, a trace of doubt appeared in her heart. Could it be that her strategy had been wrong from the beginning? Dou Tianyi did not like her, who was weak and could arouse a man's desire to protect her, but liked this kind of woman who specialized in going against him? Su Yiyan did not know that the word she had deliberately said to disgust Dou Tianyi in her anger had caused Wen Jingping to think deeply. She was really about to explode from anger now. She could not understand why there would be people in this world who were so self-righteous and full of a sense of superiority. It was fine if they spoke to others in a high and mighty tone, but when they caused trouble or even harm to others, they would act as if they were doing them a favor, thinking that the other party should be deeply grateful to them. Dou Tianyi was like that, and Xiaofan was also like that. Before, Su Yiyan only felt that the brainless world's female leads were poisonous. Now, it seemed that these world's male leads were not to be outdone. It was really like a pot that matched a lid, a perfect match. At that time, thousands of miles away, Xiaofan, who had long been worn down by various circumstances and was living a poor life with a meager salary, suddenly felt an itch in his nose. He could not help but sneeze loudly, and a trace of an ominous premonition suddenly appeared in his heart. He was already so miserable, why was there still someone thinking about him? Chapter 1095. Dou Tianyi opened his mouth, but before he could speak, he suddenly coughed violently. Wen Jingping was shocked. She hurriedly stepped forward and wanted to reach out to pat his back to calm him down, but Li Yu, who had reacted first, beat her to it. Dou Tianyi coughed like this for about a minute. When he stopped, he looked as if he had just gone through a big battle. He slumped in the wheelchair dispiritedly. His originally pale face was stained with some blood because of the violent coughing. He looked miserable and terrible. Wen Jingping was a step ahead. She was stunned for a while before she thought of going up to Dou Tianyi to express her concern. However, Dou Tianyi, who had already recovered, pushed her away. "Miss Su, you can see that my condition has deteriorated to a very serious point. I had no choice but to use this method to bring you here. I hope that in the future, Miss Su can cooperate with the family's private doctor to treat me and relieve my pain." Dou Tianyi looked at her deeply and smiled faintly. "I know what you are thinking. Your grandfather has connections with the research institute, and Hua Chenhuan's uncle has connections with the Special Operations Organization. You and your child are missing. They will definitely do whatever it takes to find you. If you are in the country, I can't guarantee that they won't find you. But what if you are abroad?" Su Yiyan's expression changed slightly. "You?" Dou Tianyi saw the change in her expression. He turned to look at the clock not far away. "There are still 40 minutes. Sometime in the future." Su Yiyan frowned, and her heart thumped. "You want to imprison me? Haven't you thought that if someone finds out—" "No one will find out." "What?" "You can't. Nothing is impossible." As early as the moment Su Yiyan stepped into the villa with the child, a large number of people were dispatched according to the plan. 40 minutes? What 40 minutes? I will take you abroad in another 40 minutes. Su Yiyan's eyes narrowed. The ominous premonition in his heart was finally confirmed. When Wen Jingping suddenly heard that Dou Tianyi was going to take Su Yiyan abroad, she was stunned for a while. When she came to her senses, her expression changed greatly. She said anxiously, "If you are going abroad, then what should I do?" Before she could finish her sentence, Dou Tianyi's cold gaze swept over her, causing her to swallow the rest of her words. At the same time, Wen Jingping felt a chill run down her spine and spread to her limbs and bones. These people would disguise themselves as Su Yiyan and set off from different places at different times to confuse the people who came to find Su Yiyan. The meaning of these people's existence was to stall for time. By the time Hua Chenhuan and the others realized that something was wrong, he would have already taken Su Yiyan and flown far away. Even if they wanted to find her, they wouldn't know where to find her in such a short time. Dou Tianyi thought that his plan was flawless, But he would never have thought that everything he had painstakingly planned would be completely destroyed by an invisible camera. She knew very well that she was going to be abandoned by Dou Tianyi. But why? She was clearly the winner in life with the female lead script. According to the original trajectory of the world, she and Dou Tianyi were destined to be together. She was clearly the only one who could alleviate his illness and keep his life. Why would this man rather choose a married woman who had given birth than her? This woman, what right did she have? Chapter 1096. Su Yiyan didn't notice the sudden change in Wen Jingping's venomous gaze. She also didn't know the twists and turns of resentment and unwillingness in Wen Jingping's heart. She looked at Dou Tianyi's confident appearance as if everything was under his control. She subconsciously tightened her hands and tried to remain calm. "Where do you want to take me?" Dou Tianyi glanced at her and held back. "You'll know when we get there." Su Yiyan chuckled. "Do you really think that as long as you take me out of the country and put me under house arrest, everything will be foolproof?" Dou Tianyi's expression changed a little because of Su Yiyan's words. "Let's not talk about the fact that the herbs I use to make the medicinal cuisine can only be obtained through specific channels, or that they can only be found in the country. Even if you can really take me out of the country without my family and a large number of search and rescue police officers, even the cleverest housewife can't cook without rice. Without the herbs, even if I want to, I can't do anything." Su Yiyan saw Dou Tianyi's expression change little by little, and there was a little more satisfaction in her eyes. "Let's take a step back and say that even if you can secretly transport these things from the country to the country and continue to supply them, what gives me the confidence to do so? Why do you think that I will selflessly rescue the culprit who kidnapped me and almost killed me and my family and friends?" Su Yiyan stared at Dou Tianyi when she said this. Her eyes were unprecedentedly cold. "Aren't you afraid that if you push me too far, I will poison your food and end your short and painful life ahead of time?" Dou Tianyi's expression changed again when he heard her say this. "Miss Su seems to have not figured out her situation. This is not up to you." "Is that so?" Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows, and the mockery in her eyes grew. "What if I refuse? Are you going to kill me?" "Of course not. Miss Su is my honored guest. How could I bear to hurt you?" Su Yiyan stared at him for a while and chuckled. "Yes, you can't bear to hurt me, but you will hurt my family and the people around me." As Su Yiyan spoke, she patted the little fellow who was sleeping soundly in her arms to comfort him. Her eyes were full of heartache. The little girl was still so young. She had only accompanied her parents to celebrate her grandmother's birthday, yet she had encountered such a thing. "Just because I refused to recuperate for you, you found someone to secretly instigate Chang Fenglang and Song Yunyuan to work together to bribe the employees of my uncle's company. You forged fake evidence, slandered my uncle and my grandfather for academic fraud, and suppressed the newcomers under them to receive kickbacks. It's a pity that my grandfather has been dutifully and conscientiously doing research for most of his life. Now that he's old, he's almost been splashed with a basin of dirty water for no reason because of some people's evil intentions. That's not all. I've underestimated some people's madness before. They would even harm a child." When Su Yiyan said this, she looked up at Dou Tianyi with disgust and hatred in her eyes. "You got someone to hint to Hua Qihan that as long as he caught my child, he could use the child to threaten me and Qin Huan to hand over the Hua Corporation. After that, you helped him bribe the servants in my house to help him take the child out and hand him over to Hua Qihan. It would be best if he succeeded. If he failed, it would be Hua Qihan who did it, and it would have nothing to do with you. You were the one who planned all this, and you were also the one who added fuel to the fire behind the scenes. In the end, Hua Qihan and Chang Fenglang were the ones who took the blame, while you were innocent and unharmed. Mr. Dou is really calculating." Chapter 1097. Su Yiyan only found out about this recently. Hua Chenhuan only told her that the Cheng family's matter was related to Dou Tianyi, but she didn't tell her that Dou Tianyi was actually involved in Hua Qihan's kidnapping. Unfortunately, the truth couldn't be hidden forever. Su Yiyan still learned the truth from Yu Zian. Su Yiyan was, of course, furious. If Dou Tianyi hadn't been in the hospital and didn't have much time left, she would have killed this bastard long ago. She didn't mention it on impulse, but she knew that everything they were doing and saying now was under surveillance. There was nowhere to hide. The two things that Su Yiyan mentioned were done very secretly by Dou Tianyi. Although Yu Zian and the others found clues, they didn't have enough evidence to prove that Dou Tianyi was involved and played a key role. There was no doubt that he was guilty. There were some things that one knew that the culprit was right in front of one's eyes, but because there were no clear witnesses or evidence, one could only watch him get away with it. There was nothing one could do. However, if the person involved could admit it personally, or if he accidentally let it slip under her provocation, then things would be different. And things were indeed as Su Yiyan expected. When Dou Tianyi heard her mention these things, he looked a little surprised. However, perhaps because he was in his own territory, he relaxed a little and felt that Su Yiyan was now a turtle in a jar. Everything she did was just a last-ditch effort. It seems that Miss Su already knows. Dou Tianyi glanced at Su Yiyan. Yes, I asked someone to do it. I asked someone to secretly tamper with your grandfather's house and your child's matter. However, you can't blame me for this. Miss Su, I told you a long time ago that I don't like being rejected. Especially when my life is at stake. Miss Su, I'm not even 30 years old yet. For many people, at this age, life is just about to begin. All their dreams are just about to be realized. Countless beautiful possibilities are waiting for them, but my life has already come to an end. I don't want to die, and I'm not willing to die like this. I just want to live. Dou Tianyi said it pitifully, but Su Yiyan only felt sick of it. There was nothing wrong with a person wanting to live. It could even be said that wanting to live was a human's instinct. However, in order to live himself, he wantonly harmed others and even implicated innocent people to force her to submit. His actions, coupled with what he said now, was absurd, sick, selfish, and hypocritical. However, some people were moved by his words. They started sympathizing with him. After watching this for a long time, President Su is the host. The man sitting opposite the host was seriously ill and wanted the host to help treat him. The host refused due to various considerations, and in the end, she suffered from this person's revenge. The host's grandfather was originally a senior in the research institute. He was a person of virtue and prestige. In the end, he was smeared with fake evidence and almost lost his integrity because of a groundless accusation. The host's child was almost stolen? Oh my God, what kind of devil is this? I can't afford to offend him. What she says is the truth. Aren't you fans too brainless? Upstairs, I'm afraid you have late-stage cerebral palsy. Didn't you hear the host admit that he did all these bad things? How did it become the host's fault? This host's fans are of such quality. They just casually scold people? As expected, fans follow the host. I vomit. Chapter 1098. You have cerebral palsy, yet you don't allow others to refute you. Weren't you the one who scolded others for being brainless first? Are you blind or have intermittent amnesia? Do you really think the broadcast room is your home and the whole world is your mother? Don't you know that the one who provokes first is cheap? Before saying that others have no quality, please take a look at yourself first. What the hell are you? I'm dying of laughter. If you're uncultured, go and read more books. If you don't know the cause and effect, you're brainless. I'm quite curious about how big your brain capacity is. Some brainless haters who doubt the streamer's words just now, since they have doubts, go and find evidence. According to the streamer's words, I found a few news reports about the streamer's family not long ago. For details, please search the discussion area next door. Previously, when the Cheng family was in trouble, Cheng Fenglang and Song Yunyuan were worried that old Master Cheng was highly respected and that the investigation department would be biased. There was no way to knock down the Cheng family in one fell swoop, so they bought a lot of articles to guide public opinion. They promoted a piece of social news into a piece of explosive news and stayed on the hot topic discussion list for several days. Later, the truth of the matter was found out, and Cheng Fenglang and Song Yunyuan were also arrested. Those marketing accounts that were bribed either deleted their posts or apologized, but there were still many righteous netizens who took screenshots and kept them. However, when the truth was revealed, because there were no paid posters, the popularity was far less than when it was attacked. Therefore, it didn't cause much of a splash. This was also the sorrow of the era of traffic. 3 people became a tiger. When the scolding came out, they swarmed forward, but when the truth came out, they ran faster than anyone else. Passers-by who didn't know the truth only saw the beginning and didn't understand the truth that came out in the end. They often left their impression at the beginning and thought that was the truth. Now that Su Yiyan brought up the old matter again, there were really people who ran to find out the whole story again. They even sorted it out so that more people would know the truth of the matter. It could be considered a blessing in disguise. Didn't someone say that the streamer might be a descendant of a hidden family? Now it seems that there are some differences from expectations, but the streamer's maternal grandparents are actually seniors in the research institute? Rounded up, they can be considered a scholarly family, right? No wonder the streamer handed these precious Chinese herbs to the research institute for research and cultivation as soon as she found them. It turns out that there's such a relationship. I'm so angry after reading the report. After searching, the host's grandparents developed many practical things when they were at the research institute. Many of these things were still in use and had saved many people. The host even gave those precious Chinese medicinal herbs to the research institute for research and planting free of charge, instead of selling them to the rich at a high price. Not to mention, he selflessly shared many medicinal cuisines that no one has ever heard of through live streaming. His stores are basically sold at a fair price. In the end, because he rejected the unreasonable request of a sick person, his elder, who was originally a virtuous cultivator, was almost slandered and had to bear a groundless name. Now, she was being kidnapped along with her child. Just thinking about it made her feel suffocated. Oh my God! Did someone call the police? This man is so crazy. Who knows what he'll do to the streamer and the baby? I reported it a long time ago. They said that they're already looking for him. However, the man just now seemed to say that he wanted to take the streamer out of the country. I'm a little worried that I might not be able to save the streamer in time. After the audience in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room found out about Do Tiany's actions, they began to worry about the safety of Su Yiyan and her child. Chapter 1099. As for the matter of Hua Qihan stealing the child that Su Yiyan mentioned, this matter had always been kept a secret from the public because they needed to use Hua Qihan to find the culprits who killed Hua Chenhuan's parents. However, based on the current situation, this group of people had clearly found a new partner and were desperate enough to make a move on her and the child. Hua Qihan's side had probably come to an end and there was no need to continue hiding it. Su Yiyan's fans had not previously associated the streamer with the entertainment company's CEO, who had once caused a stir on the internet. Naturally, they did not pay much attention to Su Yiyan's family Hua. Now that he knew about it, he could turn those old memories upside down in a matter of minutes. How blind was the scumbag? He did not want their beautiful, gentle, virtuous, and culinary treasure like their streamer. Why did he have to pick up garbage in the green tea bucket? What? After the streamer tore apart the scumbag's mistress, she married the scumbag's uncle and became his aunt? Well done. What? The streamer from the gourmet section, who was now standing behind the kidnapper, was their streamer's love rival? To be precise, the original wife and the mistress? Hua Qihan did not have much to do with Su Yiyan in the outside world, but the title of the scumbag's father was enough to make people put on a biased view of this person. In the eyes of many people, the change of the head of the Hua Corporation was a secret of the rich and powerful, and brothers fighting for power. The scumbag's uncle was young, handsome, and loved the streamer very much. It was just that he had an accident before and his legs were disabled. However, he suddenly recovered not long after he married the streamer. It must be the streamer's credit. The audience broke out in a cold sweat for Su Yiyan while eating a big mouthful of melon with great interest. As a mother, I really can't stand such a thing. If someone dares to steal my child, I will definitely go crazy. I will risk my life to get my child back, even if I have to perish together with the other party. Don't say that this is some kind of family infighting. This is kidnapping and child stealing. Fortunately, they didn't succeed. Otherwise, they might have killed the hostage or thrown the child into some corner, making it impossible for the child to see his parents for the rest of his life. What's the difference between this and those human traffickers who steal children? If it was just this, there was nothing much to say about the winner and the loser. However, it was different when it involved stealing children. When the host was pregnant, she would occasionally broadcast live for us. It can be said that we watched the baby grow up bit by bit. This man actually encouraged others to steal the host's child just because the host refused to treat him. He's simply insane. Once the number of people increased, It naturally became a mix of good and bad. The die-hard viewers in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room all felt that Su Yiyan was right. They only criticized Dou Tianyi and Hua Qihan in the live broadcast room. Su Yiyan's live broadcast room was very popular, but it also attracted a lot of envy. Coupled with the unique nature of her live broadcast, it didn't take long for her to attract a lot of viewers. In addition to Su Yiyan's loyal viewers, the number of viewers in Su Yiyan's livestream had already exceeded 8 digits. Especially those mothers with children. They put themselves in Su Yiyan's shoes and were all furious. However, there were also some who had a particularly strange way of thinking. After listening to Dou Tianyi's pitiful story, they put the blame on Su Yiyan's head. It takes 2 hands to clap. She could have helped, but she didn't. Hee, this woman is really ruthless. I can tell that she's not a good person. She deserves to be retaliated against. Chapter 1100. Such disgusting remarks were inconceivable to many people, but there were some who were willing to go along with it. That's right. Isn't a female streamer just flirting and seducing men? Good women are all at home taking care of their husbands and children. Where would they have the time to do such fancy things? If you ask me, this woman is simply playing hard to get. She's already married, yet she still goes around seducing men. Who knows how many green hats she has on her husband's head? Now, she's just capsized. Serves her right. Why is this woman opening a medicinal cuisine live stream? Isn't it to treat illnesses and save people? Now that people have taken the initiative to come to her door, she's making all sorts of excuses. Why is she pretending to be virtuous? She's really deserving of it. Oh my God, there's actually a saint speaking up for this man. What kind of disgusting maggot is this? Ladies, wipe your eyes and look at these people clearly. Don't be fooled by these scumbags. Once this kind of extreme loser with double standards takes a fancy to you and you're unwilling to break up with him, he might go and spread rumors that you're seducing men and that you're promiscuous. He might even stab you with a knife. Don't find friends in the trash. There's actually someone who's willing to take action against a child. Some people's worldview is really a little touching. In this regard, I only want to say that human traffickers should all die. Die, die, die. I suddenly remembered that in ancient records, there was a particularly famous doctor, that is, a doctor in ancient times, who treated a noble. Just because the treatment method he proposed was not to the noble's liking, he was cruelly killed. Previously, I thought it was ridiculous and that the ancients were ignorant. I didn't expect to see a real-life version one day. This can already be considered a medical disturbance, right? Such remarks suddenly increased. The audience, who were originally worried about the safety of Su Yiyan and her son, became extremely irritable. It's because of idiots like you that the streamer has always chosen to hide her identity. One slap doesn't make a sound? If you have the ability, stretch your face out. I guarantee you'll hear a sound. I hate this kind of victim theory the most. One slap doesn't make a sound? Heh, if I slap you, you might die. Upstairs, if you think this live stream is a publicity stunt, then eat more nutritious food to nourish your brain. Who would use their own lives and the safety of their children for publicity purposes? Moreover, it was in such a public live broadcast. Not to mention other things, just guiding fans to report false information to the police was enough for her to go in. In the end, you've been hyping it up for so long just to go in and squat. Do you really think everyone is as brainless as you? After the viewers in the live streaming room were briefly surprised by Su Yiyan's identity, they were all attracted by her and her child's current situation. Now, they were fighting with all kinds of demons and monsters in the live streaming room. You said what I wanted to say but didn't dare to say. Someone's fans are like lunatics, attacking people and not allowing any different voices to appear. In my opinion, we should report this platform and ban this live stream forever. Other than such comments, there were also some people who felt that the live stream was a publicity stunt. Trash hype dog. It's fine if you bought all kinds of marketing to hype up your store and fake medicine. Now, you're actually doing this kind of kidnapping, holding and strangling live broadcast to show your pitiful side. You must be crazy for money. The bullet screen was very chaotic and lively. Su Yiyan did not know about this, but the system's continuous increase in favorability gave her some comfort. It made her certain that it was a wise decision to start a live broadcast at this time. Chapter 1101. Su Yiyan calmed down and raised her head to look at Dou Tianyi. She said solemnly, "I've already said that I can't help you. Your doctor should have already told you that your illness is incurable. At the very least, the current medical drugs are unable to achieve the effect of curing your illness. I'm just a normal person. I'm not even a doctor. I'm really not as good as you think." Dou Tianyi didn't argue with Su Yiyan on this topic. He only said hoarsely, "Even if it can't be cured, I want to live a little longer. Then you should go to the research institute for help. Whether it's medicinal herbs or medicinal materials, I've already handed them over to the research institute to plant and promote. I'm just a dabbler in treating illnesses and saving people. The reason why I took these things out is because I don't want a bright pearl to be covered in dust. The research institute has pharmacologists and doctors who specialize in medicinal herbs. With decades of knowledge in these things, which one of them isn't better than me? Why do you have to be so stubborn to pester a layman like me?" Dou Tianyi stared at Su Yiyan faintly. Miss Su's medical knowledge may not be as good as theirs, but your understanding of these things is more detailed than anyone else. So Miss Su doesn't need to feel any psychological pressure in this aspect. Other than Miss Su, I have a complete medical team by my side. They will choose the most suitable medical treatment according to Miss Su's prescription and my own physical condition. Dou Tianyi's words were actually telling Su Yiyan that since she was caught by him, she should be more obedient. She shouldn't think of playing any tricks on his illness. Since he caught her, he definitely wasn't unprepared. Dou Tianyi might not have medical knowledge and would be fooled by her, but the entire medical team by his side wasn't to be trifled with. As for what Miss Su mentioned just now, are you afraid that you'll put poison in the medicine? I really can't bear to touch Miss Su, but I don't have the same patience for anyone other than Miss Su. Dou Tianyi glanced meaningfully at the little guy in Su Yiyan's arms. He said with a faint smile, "Some people, since you've already touched them once, it's no big deal to touch them again." Su Yiyan's body stiffened. She angrily shouted, "You dare!" At this point, Miss Su, what do you think I don't dare to do? Or does Miss Su think that it's really just a coincidence that I deliberately chose today? Su Yiyan pursed her lips. She already had a guess in her heart. If she was alone, Dou Tianyi didn't want to die. But it was different with the child. No matter what she did, Su Yiyan had to consider the safety of her child, and it was inevitable that she would be constrained. System. How's collecting the favorability points? Is it enough for a big move? Su Yiyan knew that once the live broadcast was released, Huan would definitely make a move. However, the situation outside wasn't clear. She hoped that Huan would come quickly to save them, but she also had to save herself. Almost there. Su Yiyan's expression was a little ugly. The atmosphere between the two of them also became heavy and oppressive because of the lack of agreement. Just then, the sound of hurried and messy footsteps suddenly came from outside. It was accompanied by the anxious and troubled voices of several bodyguards. "Wait, you can't go in now. Please don't make things difficult for us. Sai Yu." Chapter 1102. Su Yiyan keenly sensed that Dou Tianyi's expression had changed subtly because of the commotion outside. He gave Li Yu a look. Li Yu immediately understood and walked over to Su Yiyan. "Miss Su, please come over here." Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes and did not get up. "What happened? Please allow me to explain the details later. Let's leave here first. This is also for the safety of you and the child. Don't worry, we won't do anything to you for the time being." For the time being? That meant that they could still do something to her in the future. Su Yiyan understood what he meant. Her eyes flashed coldly, but she also felt that the commotion outside was not right. She carried the child and went upstairs with Li Yu. However, she was still a step too late. Bang! The sudden gunshot not only scared the child who was sleeping soundly in Su Yiyan's arms, but it also scared the audience and Huan who were worried about the safety of Su Yiyan and her son in the live stream. What was that sound? Did they fire a shot? Where's the rescue team? Why hasn't anyone gone to save them? What will happen to the host and the baby? I didn't think much of it when they stole the child. I didn't expect a gun to appear now. What kind of people did the host provoke? Why is it so dangerous? That's right. When I heard that this group of people wanted to kidnap the host and send her abroad, I already felt that this group of people was too unscrupulous. I didn't expect them to have firearms. D***. Will the host and the baby's life be in danger? Where are they? Is there anyone who can save them? The anxious cries of Su Yiyen's fans were also what Hua Chenhuan was thinking at the moment. The moment he heard the gunshot, his whole heart trembled. When he reacted, his eyes were red. He only urged the driver to go faster. Faster. Although the driver didn't know why the situation on the victim's side was broadcasted so clearly, and why the kidnappers didn't notice anything, he knew that the situation was urgent, so he stepped on the accelerator with all his might. The little guy, who was awakened by the noise, opened his eyes and burst into tears. Su Yiyen's attention was also drawn back. She anxiously comforted the child while trying to guess the identity of the person who had come. The more he thought about it, the colder his hands and feet became. Coming here at this time with such ill intentions, could it be? Just as he was thinking about it, the culprit who had scared the child to tears rushed in. It was a tanned and muscular man with a large scar on the left side of his face. As soon as he entered, he aimed his weapon at Dou Tianyi. The group of people behind him also raised their weapons and pointed them at the other people in the room. Li Yu and the others were still fine. Although their expressions were ugly, they were still able to maintain their calm. Wen Jingping didn't have such a good psychological quality. When she saw the person's posture, her legs went weak and she almost fell to the ground. She subconsciously held Dou Tianyi's wheelchair to steady herself, but when she saw the person pointing his weapon at Dou Tianyi, she reflexively retracted her hand and even took 2 steps back with a pale face. She wanted to distance herself from Dou Tianyi and distance herself from him. Dou Tianyi saw her reaction, but he didn't care too much. Or it could be said that he didn't have any expectations for Wen Jingping in the first place. He looked up at the scarred man and chuckled. Mr. E, what do you mean by this? You just finished your job and you want to get rid of the donkey after it has left the millstone. Isn't that too unkind? Chapter 1103. When the scarred man heard Dou Tianyi's words, he sneered. Even the scar on his face twitched, making him look very ferocious. Finished? She's already been snatched away. What else can you do? The scarred man said as he looked at Dou Tianyi with hostility and viciousness. It's been a long time since someone dared to trick me like this. Kid, are you looking for death? Bang! As soon as the scarred man finished speaking, a gunshot rang through the hall again, followed by Wen Jingping's uncontrollable scream. The bullet brushed past Dou Tianyi's face and hit the wall behind him, leaving a hole. It was both a dissatisfaction and a warning. Wen Jingping had never been so close to a firearm like this before. She screamed and fell to the ground, trembling. She was afraid that the scarred man's next shot would be her head. But you've forgotten that I'm a businessman. A businessman never does business that loses money. What I'm doing now is just giving you a taste of your own medicine. Mr. E, you don't have to pretend to be a victim of betrayal. The ridicule in Dou Tianyi's words couldn't be more obvious, but he had forgotten that it was common for businessmen to fight amongst themselves. With just a few words, there were flashes of light and shadows of swords, and smoke of gunpowder filled the air. But now he was not facing a businessman, but an unreasonable outlaw. It was like Xiao Kai meeting Bing. It was not a competition of eloquence, but whose fist was bigger. Dou Tianyi was quite calm in the face of this group of outlaws, as if the person who was threatened was not him. Mr. E, I'm afraid you've forgotten that we had an agreement. I'll help you hide your whereabouts, gather information for you, and find an opportunity to make a move on the family Hua. You help me catch Hua Chenhuan's wife. After that, you take your revenge, and I'll treat my illness. We'll both benefit from each other and mind our own business. But what did you do? In the downtown area, you openly blocked, chased after cars, and even opened fire. Dou Tianyi's eyes turned cold as he said this. Mr. E, I'm not a fool. Everyone knows what you're trying to do. One of the most important terms in our agreement was not to hurt Miss Su. I still need her help to treat my illness, but you want her life. Well, killing her is equivalent to killing me. You've taken your revenge and vented your anger, and you can also remove the root of the problem. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, this deal is really not a loss. At that time, Hua Chenhuan and the others had already located the villa's location through the environment in the live broadcast room and the information revealed by the few people's conversations. They came to the periphery of the villa. The live stream on Hua Chenhuan's phone was still open so that everyone could understand the situation more accurately and in real time. Zhang Qianyang didn't know how his niece-in-law opened the live broadcast, and the camera clearly wasn't on her, so he could completely rule out the possibility of her carrying a camera with her. I don't have time to listen to your bullshit. If you don't want to die, then be quiet and let me take her away. When the knife-scarred man said this, his gun was still pointed at Dou Tianyi, but his eyes had already drifted to Su Yiyan, who wasn't far away. When Su Yiyan met the man's eyes, her heart trembled. She had a faint premonition that this man's hands were stained with blood, and it wasn't just the blood of one person. But it had to be said that the appearance of this live broadcast did provide them with very useful information, greatly facilitating their rescue. After seeing the knife-scarred face in the live broadcast, Zhang Qianyang's expression changed. Chapter 1104. It's really this guy. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed when she heard Zhang Qianyang's words. She asked coldly, "Do you know him?" Zhang Qianyang hesitated for a moment, but still chose to tell the truth. 3 days ago, with the cooperation of the police, my men used Hua Qihan to lure out that group of people. The situation at that time was very dangerous. The biggest leader was killed on the spot while escaping, but it was inevitable that a few of them escaped. Hua Chenhuan's face was terrifyingly gloomy. This man is one of the fish that escaped? Zhang Qianyang nodded solemnly. This man is the second in command of the leader. Although he is only the second in command, in fact, his methods are no less ferocious than the leader. Even the leader is old and no longer restrains his subordinates as much as before. In recent years, many things have been handled by this man. In short, this man was the second in command, but in fact, he was already the uncrowned king of this group of people. Although they killed the so-called leader 3 days ago, they still let this slippery big fish slip away. And now, this big fish had set his target on their family. What do we do now? Hua Chenhuan clenched her hands into fists. One could vaguely see the slightly bulging blue veins on her hands. The few of you, follow the few of you over there. Zhang Qianyang directed his men to surround the small villa. Remember not to alarm anyone and ensure the safety of the hostages. They tried their best to ensure the safety of Su Yiyan at all costs, but they also knew that the situation was not optimistic. If this man really wanted to kill Su Yiyan and her son, then they would not even have a chance to rescue them. Su Yiyan did not know that Hua Chenhuan and the others had already arrived outside the villa and were anxious to rush in to save her. From the conversation between Dou Tianyi and this scarred man, she had already guessed the identity of this scarred man and knew that this person really wanted to kill her. Su Yiyan looked calm on the surface, but a layer of cold sweat had already formed on his back. She knew very well that Dou Tianyi would not hand her over. Even if it was for his own life, he could not watch her die. But the point was, could he be more stubborn than these lunatics? As it turned out, Su Yiyan's worries were not unfounded. When Dou Tianyi heard that the scarred man wanted to take Su Yiyan away, he said without thinking, "That won't do. I still need her to save my life. I can't let you take her away." The scarred man's face darkened. "I'm not negotiating with you. Do you believe that I won't kill you right now?" Dou Tianyi wasn't afraid. He glanced at the scarred man and sneered, "Of course I believe you. But Mr. E, you have to consider the consequences of killing me. Apart from me, no one else can help you leave this place. Other things aside, the one in the family Hua is not someone easy to deal with." Before Dou Tianyi could finish, the scarred man had already interrupted him. "Do you think I'm afraid of him? You are not afraid of them, but you are afraid of death. What happened a few days ago was a lesson. Do you want to repeat the same mistake? That's because they cheated. Cheating is also a strategy. How can Mr. E be sure that they don't have a backup plan? If that's the case, you wouldn't have asked me to cooperate. You were lucky to escape this time. How can Mr. E be sure that you will be so lucky next time? What if? There's no what if." Chapter 1105. Dou Tianyi raised his eyebrows and chuckled. "Don't be so full of yourself. Even a rabbit will bite when cornered, let alone a mad dog. You killed his wife and child. He will kill you no matter what. When that time comes, I'm afraid Mr. E won't be able to escape. When Su Yiyan heard Dou Tianyi describe Huan as a mad dog, his face darkened and a chill flashed through his eyes. When the knife-scarred man heard him say that, he was stunned. Soon after, he seemed to have thought of something and suddenly laughed. Mad dog? That's an apt description. Everyone says that nephew is like uncle. Zhang Qianyang is a mad dog. His nephew is also a mad dog. When Su Yiyan heard this person mention Zhang Qianyang, his heart sank. He was almost certain of this knife-scarred man's identity. At this moment, the knife-scarred man suddenly raised his head and looked over. The two people's eyes met unexpectedly. Su Yiyan pursed his lips and his heart sank. Fortunately, the knife-scarred man's gaze didn't linger for too long. He quickly turned his attention back to Dou Tianyi. He even put away the weapon that was originally pointed at him, and took the initiative to walk to the sofa opposite Dou Tianyi and sit down. Kid, you're a smart person. Since you dare to say that, are you sure you can escape unscathed? Of course. A light flashed through the knife-scarred man's eyes. What are you going to do? Dou Tianyi raised his head and looked at the clock. In 10 minutes, Miss Su and I will take a private jet and leave here. Before that, there will be people who will help us lure away those bugs that are chasing after us. If Mr. E doesn't mind, you can leave with us. Leave with you on a private jet? Dou Tianyi smiled faintly and shook his head. The knife-scarred man frowned. No. To be precise, we'll leave together, but not on the same plane. I've specially prepared a private jet for Mr. E to make it convenient for Mr. E to choose where to stay. If Dou Tianyi wanted to escape, he naturally could not openly apply for the route on the surface. Otherwise, when Huan and the others reacted, they would be able to find out where they had gone. Wouldn't all their previous arrangements be in vain? The reason why he arranged another plane for the knife-scarred man and the others was that he wanted to get on the knife-scarred man's good side, and let him know that he was the only one who could help him get out of this predicament. He wanted to emphasize his value so that the knife-scarred man wouldn't dare touch him. Secondly, it was to ensure his own safety. Dou Tianyi knew that if the knife-scarred man wanted to leave, he would definitely have his own way. As long as he wanted to, he would definitely be able to solve the problem of the flight route. The difficult part was that even the cleverest housewife could not cook without rice. Now that he had given him a way out, he would naturally be able to find a way out. Furthermore, his connections would definitely not coincide with his own. When the time came, they would not be on the same plane, and no one would know where they went. Even if this group of desperados wanted to burn the bridge after crossing the river, they would not be able to do anything. How could the scarred man not see through Dou Tianyi's little scheme? But what he was more concerned about was, "You're guarding against me." It's not that I'm guarding against you. I just want to ensure the safety of myself and Miss Su. Mr. E, don't tell me you're scared. Provocation won't work on me. I'm just scared. The plane is yours, and you won't be on the same plane as us. If the sky explodes, who can I reason with? You have to come with us. That's impossible. I'm not negotiating with you. I'm ordering you. I'm ordering you to come with us. The two of them had created a temporary harmony because of their escape, but now they were at daggers drawn because of their differences in escape arrangements. Chapter 1106. Su Yiyan felt an indescribable sense of irony as he watched the scene unfold. Two people who obviously had their own ulterior motives were on guard against each other, repeatedly jumping on the edge of falling out. However, for the sake of each other's safety, they had no choice but to cover up the thin layer of paper and fight a battle of wits and courage with each other. Su Yiyan was not interested in the game between the two. Su Yiyan was more concerned about whether he could bring the child out of here in the short span of 10 minutes. This question also affected the hearts of the audience in the live broadcast room. These people were originally very worried because of the appearance of the scarred man and the others. It was only when they heard Dou Tianyi emphasize the time again that they realized that so much time had passed unknowingly. Obviously, the rescue team had not arrived yet. If this continued, wouldn't the host really be kidnapped by this group of dangerous people and taken abroad? In a split second, the live broadcast room was densely filled with messages, all of which were worried about Su Yiyan's future and concerned prayers. The favorability value rose rapidly, and finally, Su Yiyan heard the prompt that he wanted to hear the most. Detected that the favorability value of the host has met the upgrade requirements. Do you want to upgrade immediately? Upgrade. Su Yiyan was stunned. After the upgrade, can I swallow the system on Wen Jingping? In theory, it is possible. The system will try its best. The system was rarely modest. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed slightly, and finally, there was a slight smile in his eyes. Then upgrade. Confirm to use favorability value to upgrade the system. This upgrade is estimated to take 1 minute. 59, 58, 57. 1 minute was not long, but it was not short either. Especially in this kind of life and death situation, every minute and second was torture. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Su Yiyan silently counted down with the system in his heart. The moment the 1 fell, he heard a crisp sound, and the system's voice sounded again. System upgrade completed. Do you want to immediately clear the surrounding system? Yes. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed fiercely. Swallow it for me. At that time, Wen Jingping was worried about the terrible situation she might face after Dou Tianyi left. Suddenly, a sharp alarm sounded in her mind. An unknown attack has been detected on the system. Host, please activate the protective device as soon as possible. An unknown attack has been detected on the system. Host, please activate the protective device as soon as possible. Detected. Beep. Host, please. Beep. What? Wen Jingping was caught off guard by this sudden turn of events. Her pupils shrank as she stood rooted to the ground, not knowing what to do. While she was in a daze, she also didn't expect that there would be a high-level system in this era. Furthermore, the other party wanted to annex her main character system right from the start, which was also a little careless. This system's level was not as high as 001 because of Wen Jingping's slacking off. In addition, it didn't even notice 001's existence before it was attacked. Before it could even activate the protective device, it was already affected by 001's heavy blow and lost the initiative. The system firewall is under attack. The system's external links are under attack. The system store is under attack. The system's central module is under attack. The system's database is under attack. Ding, ding, beep. The system's notifications, which were in the same frequency as her heartbeat, hit Wen Jingping's heart again and again, making her tremble in fear. Chapter 1107. What followed was the gradual collapse of the regional modules of the system and the distortion of the damage warnings. System damage rate. 20%. 40%. 68%. 89%. As the host of the system, Wen Jingping suddenly heard a sharp and shrill cry when the system's internal damage rate reached 100%. Wen Jingping subconsciously wanted to cover her ears, and her mind went blank for a moment. At this moment, Su Yiyan also received the good news from the system. System integration has reached 100%. The system store has been updated. The host can now exchange for items in the store for self-protection. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up when she heard the notification. She opened the system store and saw that there were many more items in the exchange store, which originally only had various Chinese medicinal herbs and various Chinese medical books. From various cheat-like auras to various types of charm enhancement, there were even self-protection tools. It was really infuriating. Fortunately, all these now belonged to 001 and her. Wen Jingping had a good hand and played it badly because when the system found her, she was in a period of depression where everyone wanted to beat her up. It was already good enough that people did not hate her, let alone have a good impression of her. Su Yiyan was different. Although she had just spent a lot of favorability points to upgrade, the audience in her live broadcast room really liked her and were worried about her. In just a short while, she had received a lot of favorability points, enough for her to exchange for some life-saving tools. I finally know why people call customers and fans the parents of their livelihood. The system had successfully swallowed another high-level system, and the contents of the chip had become much richer. When it heard Su Yiyan's exclamation, it asked a question, which was rare. Why? They can save lives at critical moments. Not only were they self-producing, but they could also save lives at critical moments. What kind of touching little angels were these? Su Yiyan decided that if she could return safely this time, she would definitely do more live broadcasts in the airport and give a few more little angels as gifts to thank them for their help. The system was speechless. After a short silence, the system continued to broadcast another notification. Congratulations to the host for snatching the female protagonist's gold finger. Progress +9. Current progress 99%. The task of snatching the gold finger is about to be completed. Once completed, the host and his partner will completely replace the male and female protagonists as the pillars of the world and enjoy the various benefits of the protagonist's aura. After 001 swallowed Wen Jingping's system, the progress bar of snatching the gold finger had only jumped to 99. What was the last 1%? There was also the various benefits of the protagonist's aura? What benefits? Luck, promotion and wealth, a happy family. I don't lack of these now. What else can I get? These benefits feel a little useless? The system was speechless. You're still complaining about this? Do you want to go to heaven? Cough. The male and female protagonists of this world possess the world's providence, so their benefits are naturally not limited to this. Su Yiyan raised an eyebrow. For example, you'll definitely win a prize if you buy a lottery ticket. You won't die if you jump off a cliff. You won't lose in the ring. You'll definitely miss when you're under a hail of bullets. And you'll definitely pick up money not long after you leave the house. Cannon fodder will suffer when they see the host, and bullets will take a detour when they see the host. Su Yiyan was speechless. Are you even human? Su Yiyan was overjoyed that she had found a way to save her life. She was already planning to get the last 1%. On the other hand, Wen Jingping was in a miserable state. Chapter 1108. Her mind went blank for a moment when she heard the scream when the system was disconnected. It took her a while to regain her senses and realize what had happened. Her system, the only thing she could rely on, had been attacked by an unknown force. Just a moment ago. System? System? Wen Jingping was quite restrained at first. She kept calling out to the system in her mind, praying for a response. After calling out a dozen times without any response, Wen Jingping finally panicked. How could this be? How could this be? Impossible, impossible. System, where are you? Don't hide, don't scare me. Come out, system, come out. Wen Jingping's scream broke the standoff between Dou Tianyi and the scarred man, Mr. E. Dou Tianyi frowned and gave Li Yu a look. Li Yu quickly went forward and grabbed Wen Jingping's hand to stop her from running around. Miss Wen, what are you doing? Calm down. How could Wen Jingping calm down at a time like this? She grabbed Li Yu's hand and said anxiously, my system is gone, someone stole it, stole it. Li Yu listened to her incoherent words and said impatiently, what system? Who stole your thing? Miss Wen, calm down first. No matter what you lost, now is not the time to talk about it. Let's wait for the boss to finish talking before we talk about your problem. Okay? No, we can't wait. Someone stole my system. Someone stole my system. Who is it? Who is it? Wen Jingping said as she pushed Li Yu away and grabbed the hand of another person beside her. Is it you? Is it you? Or is it you? Wen Jingping was like a headless fly, chasing people around and asking questions. Even the fugitives that she was afraid of before became the targets of her suspicions. In the eyes of the crowd, this scene was like a crazy woman who had lost her mind and suddenly went crazy. Dou Tianyi and the knife-scarred man were already unhappy because they couldn't reach an agreement on the topic. Now that they saw Wen Jingping crazily pulling people everywhere, they frowned at the same time. In the end, it was Li Yu who broke out in cold sweat. She directly ordered a few bodyguards to go forward and grab Wen Jingping, who still wanted to run around, and take her away first. Wen Jingping still wanted to struggle, but her strength was no match for these strong bodyguards. She could only follow them out. However, when she was near Su Yiyan, Wen Jingping seemed to have thought of something. Her body stiffened and her eyes widened. It's you, right? You're the one who stole my system. It's you. Wen Jingping suddenly exploded. She almost broke free from the restraints of the bodyguards and pounced on Su Yiyan. After her attack failed, she suddenly became dispirited, as if she had thought of something unbelievable. I should have thought of it, I should have thought of it. She had transmigrated from the 21st century to this era of universal nutritional supplements. Although she had the script of a poor Cinderella, she had come into contact with the rich second-generation Hua Xiaofan. She had relied on her home-cooked cooking skills to support herself and had accumulated many fans for herself. Everything was going well. Everything she had experienced told her that she had transmigrated with luck. One day, she would climb to the top and become a person above others. However, all of this had unknowingly gone off the rails. Since when did it start? Chapter 1109. It was not that Wen Jingping had not thought about this problem before, but before this, Wen Jingping felt that the beginning of her misfortune was that talent show. Because she participated in that show, she provoked Yu Yushi and the others. Her hype failed. Not only did she fail to squeeze into the show, but she was also used as a sacrifice by the program team. She was also banned and terminated by the live streaming platform because of her bad reputation. Since then, her love career seemed to have taken a sharp turn and started to go downhill. Hua Xiaofan was kicked out of the Hua Corporation because he caused a big mess and lost his inheritance rights. It was also at this moment that Wen Jingping realized how immature the potential stock she had set her eyes on was. She could not handle things and could not be relied on in the future. After learning from her mistakes, Wen Jingping decisively abandoned Hua Xiaofan and seized the opportunity to hook up with Dou Tianyi. In order to gain a foothold in the entertainment industry and wash away the negative effects of the talent show, Wen Jingping begged Dou Tianyi to invest in a drama for her and let her be the female lead to make her famous. Dou Tianyi did it, but she did not become famous because of it. Instead, she was ridiculed because it clashed with another drama from Su Yiyan's company, completely establishing her awkward position in the industry. It was not until Dou Tianyi and Su Yiyan's conversation that Wen Jingping realized that something was wrong. Su Yiyan was actually a live streamer on Onlooker. The food section had appeared out of nowhere and caused countless topics. After she scammed her, it became even more popular and directly compared her to the medicinal cuisine live streamer in the dust. Perhaps she was wrong from the beginning. Her tragedy did not start with that talent show, but with Su Yiyan? Wen Jingping's initial impression of Su Yiyan was very one-sided. The reason for her hostility was very simple. Su Yiyan was Hua Xiaofang's fiancé. This setting was very common in the melodramatic dramas she had seen. These rich second-generation young masters often had a fiancé who was already engaged in a business marriage. This fiancé was usually chosen for him by his family. She loved him to death, but the male lead didn't like her at all. Instead, he easily fell in love with Cinderella, who had a great disparity in status. Wen Jingping firmly believed that she was Cinderella, and even more firmly believed that her transmigration was a gift from the heavens. Naturally, she didn't like Su Yiyan, her fiancé. She felt that Su Yiyan was a vicious female supporting character who could ruin her relationship with Hua Xiaofan. Hua Xiaofan wanted to strike first and gain the upper hand by exposing her mask in front of everyone. That was why Hua Xiaofan brought her to the banquet and showed off in front of his fiancé. Now that she thought about it carefully, it seemed that things started to go out of control from then on. Su Yiyan fell down the stairs and was hospitalized. As soon as she was discharged from the hospital, she broke off her engagement with Hua Xiaofan and married Hua Xiaofang's uncle. Not long after, on the same platform and in the same area, a food anchor who followed the same path as her appeared. However, this food anchor was more attractive than her. All of this was too much of a coincidence. In this era, there weren't many people who could cook. How could her culinary skills be so good? In this era, Chinese medicinal herbs had clearly been lost. How could she take them out? Was it really her family's inheritance, or did she have some unusual opportunity? Taking a step back, even if she really had these things, why didn't she take them out before? Why did she have to appear during this period of time when she stopped broadcasting and went to participate in the talent show? Why did she steal all the glory that originally belonged to her? Chapter 1110. She failed in a talent show and was banned by the platform. Her boyfriend's protection was taken away. She was ridiculed when she finally found another company to film a TV series. She was called a mistress when she hooked up with a spare tire. She was banned by her family when she found a backer. On the other hand, Su Yiyan was an extreme case. After her live stream became popular, she hooked up with the research institute. Then, she opened a brick-and-mortar store and captured millions of fans. She married a wheelchair-bound cripple and recovered. Then, she seized power and became the head of the Hua Corporation. In addition, Su Yan opened an entertainment company. Artists relied on her to gain sympathy. She even used her as a stepping stone to shoot a TV series and became a hit in the ratings. Even the backer she had tried so hard to hook up with was not reluctant to leave after using her. He wanted to abandon her and beg her. It was as if all the luck she should have had been taken away by her. When she thought about the sudden attack on her system not long ago and the lack of information, Wen Jingping was even more certain of her guess. It's you. It must be you. You stole my system. No, you already have a system. You stole my system. Give it back to me. Give it back to me. With a definite suspect, Wen Jingping struggled even harder. Even the bodyguards who were holding her down almost couldn't hold her. Hearing her scream, Dou Tianyi and the scarred man had different reactions. Dou Tianyi's eyes flashed. He frowned and wanted Li Yu to grab her and drag her out. The scarred man stood up and said with a gloomy face, "System? What system? What do you have on you? A tracker or a listening device?" As soon as the scarred man said this, everyone was stunned. Their eyes all focused on Su Yan. They were on guard. The audience in the live stream subconsciously held their breaths. They were afraid that these cold-blooded demons would discover their existence and use it to hurt Su Yan and her son. In their opinion, Su Yan must have hidden a camera or something. Otherwise, how could she have started a live stream? If she was discovered by these people, the consequences would be unimaginable. Reality proved that not everyone's imagination was big enough. When the system was mentioned, they would subconsciously think of transmigration, rebirth, and other small probability events. Su Yan saw that everyone had misunderstood and raised his eyebrows. However, he was calmer than they had imagined. If I had these things on me, would you have brought me to this desolate place? Let's accept this vexation. That's not necessarily true. The scar-faced man narrowed his eyes, his face full of hostility. Zhang Qianyong is cunning, and his nephew is probably no better. You better hand it over, or else. Otherwise what? You want to search my body? Su Yan sneered. Before I came in, Mr. Dou's men searched me from head to toe. Now you want to search me again? Do you not trust Mr. Dou, or do you think Mr. Dou is such a careless person? Am I holding you back? The provocation in Su Yan's words couldn't be more obvious. However, it was enough to disgust these two men who didn't see eye to eye. As expected when she said this, the two men's expressions turned ugly. It wasn't just them. Even the bodyguards in black who had brought Su Yan back had ugly expressions. They were the ones who had brought Su Yan back. They were the ones who had checked him before he came in. Wasn't this man questioning their boss indirectly questioning them? Chapter 11:11. Su Yan saw the change in everyone's expression and sighed. Of course, if you want to force me to search again, I can't do anything about it. After all, I am now a prisoner. My life may be in danger at any time. How can I care about this? Su Yan's words could be said to be quite eccentric. In a roundabout way, she ridiculed Dou Tianyi for going through so much trouble to invite her over but not being able to guarantee her safety, allowing an outsider to behave atrociously in his territory. Dou Tianyi's eyes flashed. He knew Su Yan's intention, but he still went along with her words. He smiled faintly and said, "Miss Su must be joking. Miss Su is my guest. No one will do anything to you." The knife-scarred man's face darkened slightly. There was a dangerous look in his eyes as he looked at Dou Tianyi. Dou Tianyi did not avoid the knife-scarred man's gaze. He calmly explained, "Before entering, Miss Su had indeed been checked. All the communication signals in this place have been blocked. Even if she has something on her, she can't send it out." The knife-scarred man's expression became better. He no longer insisted on searching Su Yan's body. However, no one expected that when Jingping, who had been restrained and unable to move, would explode with unprecedented strength when she saw that everyone's attention was attracted by Su Yan. She broke free from the restraints of several bodyguards and rushed in the direction of Su Yan. Everything happened too suddenly. Everyone watched as when Jingping threw herself at Su Yan. Su Yan subconsciously protected her child and wanted to dodge. However, the system's prompt sounded in her mind again. It has been detected that a group of people has surrounded the villa. A fight is inevitable. Does the host want to exchange for the corresponding life-saving tools to ensure the safety of her life? A group of people? Su Yiyan was stunned. The first thing that came to her mind was, Qinhuan has arrived? Yes. After getting a definite answer, Su Yiyan instantly changed her mind. She stood motionless and let Wen Jingping throw herself at her. Dou Tianyi and the others' faces changed slightly. They were afraid that Wen Jingping would throw herself at Su Yiyan. They did not know that since Su Yiyan allowed Wen Jingping to throw herself at her, she was not unprepared. Confirming the activation of the comprehensive defense system. Congratulations to the host for activating the halo and the large-scale melee halo. Within 10 minutes, all the chaos in the surroundings will not be able to harm the host at all. Those who harbor ill intentions towards the host will not be able to get within 1 meter of the host. What was Su Yiyan most afraid of? She was most afraid of the real thing in their hands. Now that the halo was activated, no matter how powerful the weapons were, they could not hit her and her child. They could not even get close to them. 10 minutes did not sound like a long time, but in this life and death situation, not to mention 10 minutes, even a minute or a second could determine who lived and who died. She had to admit that the system was quite reliable at critical moments. As soon as the halo was activated, Wen Jingping, who was throwing herself at Su Yiyan and reaching out to strangle Su Yiyan's neck, tilted to the side after throwing herself at Su Yiyan and fell down the stairs. She rolled all the way down the stairs and could not get up. Su Yiyan protected her child and was unharmed. However, at this time, everyone was attracted by another movement in the hall and did not notice her abnormality. Chapter 11-12. Hua Qinhuan and the others, who had surrounded the villa like an iron bucket, could no longer hold themselves back when they saw Wen Jingping pouncing on Su Yiyan. They took the lead and opened the wooden storehouse for Dou Tianyi and the scarred man. Dou Tianyi was originally worried about Su Yiyan's safety and wanted to help. However, when he saw someone fall in front of him, his expression changed. He retreated under the cover of Li Yu and the others while ordering people to capture Su Yiyan. The scarred man was obviously thinking the same thing as him. Although they were caught off guard by the sudden attack of Hua Qinhuan and the others, they were still part of the mafia. However, he was a member of the underworld, and compared to Dou Tianyi, he was better at dealing with this kind of situation. After the initial surprise, his first reaction was to get someone to arrest Su Yiyan. Only with Su Yiyan would they have a chance of survival. Even if they couldn't reach an agreement in the end, he wanted to drag that woman down with him. He wanted Zhang Qianyang to experience the pain of having an important family member die because of him, just like 10 years ago. With this thought in mind, the scarred man only left a small group of people to deal with Zhang Qianyang and the others. The others were all sent to capture Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan wasn't stupid. Although she had the halo, she was now a live target. The scene was in chaos. It was fine if the bullets didn't hit her, but if everyone rushed towards her but no one could get close to her, anyone with a discerning eye would know that something was wrong. It was better to hide first. With her safety guaranteed, Su Yiyan looked at the chaotic hall and couldn't help but worry about Hua Qinhuan and the people who came to save her. The system seemed to have sensed Su Yiyan's emotions and suddenly gave her a reminder. The host and partner are in a cooperative relationship. The host and partner can use the products in the system store. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up. Really? Really? Su Yiyan was a little suspicious. Are you that good? The system was silenced for a few seconds by Su Yiyan's direct questioning before it spoke again. As long as the host pays the appropriate amount of favorable impression points, the host will be able to exchange items for partners. It's affordable. Are you sure you don't want to buy a set for your partner? Su Yiyan. 001. Are you really 001? Are you really my system? Could it be that it failed to swallow the person and got swallowed instead, becoming someone else's fake product? Her system was clearly not such a money grubber before. The system was confused by its host's 3 consecutive questions, and only after a long while did it reply coldly. Host, please do not casually question the authenticity of the system. The opening of the system store is due to the upgrade of the system after the integration with the world's female protagonist system. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. That's right. This serious tone is the system I'm familiar with. The system was speechless. Sigh, I'm so angry. Open, open, Open. Open everything that can be opened for him. As Su Yiyan spoke, she seemed to have thought of something. She frowned and asked, can it only be used on Chen Huan alone, or can it be used on others as well? The items in the system store can only be used on the host and the host's partner for the time being. Su Yiyan heard this and sighed. Sure enough, she could not be too greedy. She was already lucky to be able to guarantee Hua Chenhuan's safety. She hoped that the others would be fine as well. Reality proved that the cheat that the system gave to Su Yiyan at the last minute was very useful. When chaos broke out in the hall, Hua Chenhuan took the lead and blended into the chaotic crowd through a small shortcut almost without thinking. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.